We have 4 countries essentially urging their citizens not to travel to Lebanon. The United Arab Emirates in the last half an hour has also advised its citizens not to come here. What is particularly significant in terms of the Saudi Arabian statement is that it asks its citizens, its business people, its diplomats who are working here in Beirut to return immediately. That has never been done before. There have been travel advice, of course, for many countries in the Middle East, but to ask them to return immediately does ring alarm bells here. So now we have Kuwait, Bahrain, of course, which issued their statement on the 5th of November, the day after the Hariri resignation. Now Saudi, Kuwait and the United Arab Emirates. And it will have an impact quite possibly on investor and business confidence here, because I was speaking to somebody from the banking sector earlier who was explaining to me that the Saudi government has $4 billion in cash as liquidity, if you like, in banks here in Lebanon. Now, if that kind of money is withdrawn by Saudi Arabia, and there might be other cash deposits withdrawn by other countries, then that will seriously have an impact in terms of confidence and business and the economy here. Now, the full impact of this, of course, is still yet to be known, because Saad Hariri hasn't returned to Lebanon to offer his resignation in person, as he should do under the Constitution. That's the legal process, and he's believed still to be in Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely, and I think he bounced over to the UAE in the last couple of days as well. I mean, when are we expecting him to return home, Iolo? He's getting pressure from his own party. Obviously, the president says he hasn't accepted his resignation. What's the feeling there? Do they want him to come back to do this, as you say, constitutionally?
Well, constitutionally, he should come back, because that's the only way that President Aoun and the cabinet, which is still the cabinet of the government, the operational government here in Lebanon, he has to come back and tender his resignation, they say. Otherwise, of course, they cannot then ask Parliament to nominate somebody else to lead the next government here in Lebanon. It is an unity government. It's a government which includes most of the big players and smaller parties in Lebanon, and it's been in place for just under a year. It took 2 years to decide on who should be president, and it happens to be the Christian President Aoun now, and then there's a power share between the main parties, and one of those main parties in the unity government is Hezbollah, which is backed, of course, by Iran, and which is partly behind all this tug of war, not just in Lebanon, but also in Yemen and in other areas of the Middle East, this tug of war for influence and power between Saudi Arabia and Iran. So when you talk to people here, yes, they want to see Hariri back in the country, and other people will say he shouldn't come back to Lebanon because his life is in danger, which is, of course, what he himself, Hariri, acknowledged in his resignation speech in Saudi Arabia on Saturday. So there are conflicting reasons, if you like, and conflicting opinions whether he should come back here. So the paralysis and the confusion and the apprehension will stay until people have a clearer idea of what's ahead for Lebanon.